Hello, everyone. I'm Chestic44, also known as Falai, and welcome to this Let's Play of Pillars of Eternity. Excuse me. Last episode, we made our way down into Breath Aemon, and after looking around for a bit, we found a Soladra prison wherein the woman we've seen a few times already, what's her name? I've already forgotten. Iovara told us the truth of the whole thing. That the gods that we spoke with and gained help with, they are fake, false, not real, not the original gods. They were created by the Ingwithans specifically to try and stop the wars over beliefs that were already present, because, in truth, there were no gods. Well, these gods have now joined now, and Thaos has done everything he could in order to not only keep the secret of the fact that there are no gods, but also to give power to Wodica so that she can rule over these false gods and get her own power. Now it's time for us to go down and deal with him. Let's do so. Search for Thaos. Interesting that that bit's uncovered.
No problem.
Anyone here in Echo?
Ring of Searing Flames. Combusting Wounds. Okay. It's very dark here. Oh. Ah.
Full of surprises, aren't you?
Look at the size of this place.
Look at that. A city to put all others to shame. And long lost. We light our own path now, Watcher.
Clearly. And it looks like we must march our way through the city.
Be cautious.
At the same time, we see
Be
all
constant.
At the same time, so many bodies that were, you know, destroyed, left without souls. Boots of Speed. Yeah, we don't need those. Angwithan Shades.
Brave
That's not very helpful.
Let's go.
Very well. Let's see what we find in here. Guardian's Dome. Oh. Oh shit, a Shadow Drake? Okay, that Shadow Drake wasn't too rough. Chalky bits of bone break away between your fingers. I imagine there isn't really much in the way of traps around here. Minor bracers of deflection, not important. Whale! The shadows in the cavern suddenly lengthen and swallow you. When your eyes adjust to the darkness, you find yourself in the midst of what must be another vision. You are surrounded by mists. The ground feels springy under your feet. You imagine that as soon as you take a step, the soil behind you will erase all trace of your passage. As if on cue, the mists before you clear just enough for you to take a couple steps forward. You do, and the fog closes behind you. You continue for several minutes in this manner, one step at a time, never seeing more than the ground right in front of you. Eventually, rays of light cut through the haze, and you find yourself facing a canyon wall. Pallegina's head violently snaps to one side, her eyes tracking some unseen threat. She puts her hand to the side of her face where two of her feathers have been cut short near the base. Tufts of down float in the air. Something whizzes past you. Just as you turn, you catch another whir of movement. Out of the mist flits a shape small and round. You think you see another, and another. They tickle the corners of your vision. You turn back to the canyon wall. The sun shifts along its path, and what looked like a smooth rock face is the hollow of a cave. A figure steps out, its features shifting and changing before your eyes. He who sees and is not seen, save when he chooses, it seems. Kana regards the figure with a wary fascination. I thought the god of mysteries my chief enemy at times, but one cannot seek out answers if the questions aren't there. The figure transforms from male to female, from Orlin to Almawa, its bones lengthening and its fur receding into its flesh. The only detail that remains constant is the smooth, eyeless face. The whizzing, rushing shapes from the mist converge on the figure, and as they form a spinning cloud, you realize that they are eyes.
You understand the value of a mystery watcher. A buried scroll, a hidden truth. These are my ways. You unravel a thread, watcher. One you have lost and discovered over generations. And following it to its end has only brought you back to the beginning.
The eyes track you even as they circle the god. What are you talking about? Wail giggle is a strangely modulated sound that rises and falls as the god shifts from one form to the next. You seek and search while your foe obscures, and even your quest for answers to your past has only led you to another mystery, and one grander still. I'm here to stop Wodika from tipping the balance of power. Which means that you must scatter the very thing she seeks.
A nebula of souls, blind and brimming with potential. The answer to Wodika's question and the beginning of yours. What would you do with them?
Thunderclouds form overhead, casting shadows of movement in the canyon. According to Hylia, it's possible to restore them to Hollowborn.
A song the world knows and tires of. The droning chorus repeated again and again. Better the improvised melody, the unfolding chant. The listeners sit rapt, and just when they think they have the tune, it changes again.
Wail folds
Even
its...
the gods require fresh mysteries.
Wail folds its hands, grinning at you with an Orlin's needle-sharp teeth. The clouds break, and the torrent of rain washes Wail's features clean. His blank face molds itself again, taking on the shape of something you've never seen before. Do not consign the fate of the souls to the fate of some god's choosing. You have found them, now scatter them across existence, their destination known to neither god nor mortal. Let them be lost again. New answers to riddles. Behind him, the sudden downpours carve new caves into the canyon. What end would that serve?
No end, Watcher. That is the purpose.
But what would happen to the souls?
None know. They could end up anywhere in the realms of gods or mortals, whole or divided. Discovering them again and charting their course through the ether will be a new mystery.
Pity I don't have a higher intellect. Farewell then, Wail.
That is a word for endings, and this is but a crossroads. Even I do not know what you would choose.
Shadows from the new caves melt and spread across the landscape, covering you in darkness. When the light returns, the vision is gone. I think it's fairly clear that I am not going to do that for Wail. That is very cruel and very wrong. A lone segment of the bridge rises over the ruins of an ancient city. It looks stable enough, but the wide gap leaves little room for error. Almost looks like there's something over there. Let me try a save before I take a look at this. Let's see what happens here. Jump to the freestanding segment. Aloth gets a running start and leaps over the gap. However, Aloth cries out upon landing and collapses on the other side in a tangle of limbs. Camping supplies, spellword amulet, ring of overseeing. Honestly, it's not worth it. Give me a moment. And this is the only thing that's here, so... one moment. In truth, I dare say we have no need for any of that, so we're not going to bother getting that. Looks like we're going to free up something else here. Light up some more, please. More spirits have arrived. Take them all out.
That's not very helpful.
And another Shadow Drake.
Let's go! Let's go!
Come on, take it down. There we go. And we have a door here. We'll investigate that in a bit, because that's probably going to be the rest. At least I feel so. More shades, take them down. There we go. Urn and some loot here. And where do these stairs go down to, I wonder? If anything. Seems we can't go down there. But we do have a spot we can run to here. With not much in the way of important loot. Alright. Looks like our option here, head into this doorway. This probably leads to Thaos. And we are here. Very well. It is here that we shall find and fight Thaos.
Are you ready to take the oath? To spread the word of the gods to the lost and heathen? I am trusting you to remain loyal to the gods in this. If you do not, you will have greater powers than me to answer to. But you will answer to me as well. I wouldn't ask this were there any other choice.
So many of these bodies that have lost their things. And that is where all of these souls are being taken.
This is a missionary, same as I was. Taught the wrong things as I was. Oceanus. They have held off many would-be invaders.
You are ready to give a confession?
I'm ready to hear one from you.
And here, we likely will face him. Let me drop one more save just before we go into the final fight. The time has come. And there he is. You've come to a circular room, grand and domed, its walls lined with Audra and trimmed with copper. At the far end of a great pillar of Audra pierces the floor from below like a ragged spike, its shimmering texture giving the illusion of boundless depth. Your thoughts are yours and not yours, and they are all questions. At the base of the pillar stands Thaos, a look of concern on his face as he notes your approach. You have something you want to ask him, one question above all others, spinning madly in your mind, but you don't dare ask it yet. You need some admission from him first, some hint of the veracity of your suspicions.
You are far from your post, Inquisitor. What brings you here?
Your mind races, weighing different angles of approach, your emotions barely in track. What is this place?
We are in a sanctum holy to Utica. There are others like it in service to the other gods. I come here often to pray for her counsel, and in this space I may be assured that she hears me.
All these statues, who are they of?
They are monuments to Utica's greatest servants among my people. I hope to join them myself one day, but my work is not yet complete.
That machine behind you, what does it do?
It has many uses, but its purpose is to bring structure to the chaos that surrounds it.
Was Iovara telling the truth?
That woman sought only to destroy the foundations of peace and civility that my people sacrificed everything to build.
And was the entire Inquisition based on a lie?
The Inquisition was based on the need to cut the flesh from a rotting wound.
You are shaking now, having lost all patience for tact. No more evasions, you have to know. Everything you believed, everything you have done for the gods. Did you lie to me when you said the gods could end suffering? Thaos says nothing. Are there no gods?
What is a god? A higher power? A rewarder of good deeds and punisher of the wicked? Something men can turn to in their darkest moments when their days seem only like bridges from one tragedy to the next. Our gods are all these things.
With Thaos' every word, you find yourself losing control of a boiling cauldron of rage and doubt and fear and hopelessness until you can take it no more. Are there no gods?
We are in a sacred place within earshot of the gods themselves. This is not the time. You've been through much these past few months. You will return home and you will rest. When you feel you have recovered, you may rejoin us at the trials. The Inquisition is far from over, and I will have need of you. There are many who continue to spread the lies of the apostate. The Inquisition will not end until we have pronounced judgment on all of them.
His eyes linger on you, and there is no mistaking the threat behind it, and your rage shrinks at the image of an iron wheel in your mind, monolithic and caked with the dried blood of thousands. You do not ask your question again.
How did you find it?
I didn't. It was Lady Webb.
Another in a string of acts of petty defiance. For all her knowledge, she always preferred spite over reason.
Well, she loved you.
Then she should have obeyed. I ask one thing of all my followers. She was incapable. A waste of rare talent and intellect.
Her talent and intellect were too great for her to live as your servant.
What of your cohorts, then? They have followed you to their deaths. Is it loyalty that brings them here? Or is it, as my agents suggest, that they have no direction of their own? You have devoted yourself to studying the work of my people. Why?
I thought your people had much to teach us. That we, too, could create great machines, improve our ships, make an empire as vast and impressive as yours ever was, built upon your secrets.
And did you ever consider that these were things you were never meant to understand? That their comprehension is beyond you?
I know better. The Anguithans weren't an infallible race. You were never gods. All your petty experiments, your heinous crimes, your glorious achievements. You were just people, and your time came and went. Engwith is a lesson now for those who remain.
You are living in the time of my people, Amawa. You owe them more than you will ever comprehend, and so it shall ever be. Greater civilizations than yours have attempted to reclaim what we buried. The greater their successes, the worse their fates in the end. I have seen to it.
Durin stares at Thaos with a beast's snarl. Thaos watches him calmly.
You built a weapon that delivered exactly as promised.
I served my goddess as you did yours.
Yet the other builders were slain. 11 of a dozen. Why not you? Were you somehow different? Redeemable in your god's sight?
Whatever desire I had to be redeemed in her eyes was weakness, purged by the Watcher's sight.
Or was it merely that your goddess wanted you dead as well, and your delusions of importance prevented you from seeing the obvious?
A whore's beguiling charms, nothing more. But the spell's broke now, Thaos. The trial's over. I know friend from foe. And I've come here now to see a foe repaid.
You were able to destroy a god because another god wished it. Without her hand to guide you, you could not strike at a god any more than you could strike the sky. You are impotent, and not just from the pox.
Oof.
I understand your Duke's bells gave you a mission.
Their orders do not absolve me of my greater responsibility to the safety and well-being of the Republics.
Yet you disobeyed. Something you already have a reputation for. They will know, of course. If it had been for a worthy cause, they might have forgiven you. But I don't see them pursuing animancy after seeing what it's done here. They trusted you, and you disappointed, as you always have. And you will again be disowned.
The parents scold, but the children are safe. Whether animancy research continues in the Republics or not, they will survive. For now, that's enough. In any case, I wouldn't be so smug about my fate, Thaos. I imagine Woodica responds to disappointment much more severely than even my dukes.
Huh.
State your name and purpose, young acolyte.
My name belonged to the gods and my hand to their service. No more.
You serve none but yourself. Without contact with your order, you can have no higher purpose. Only the base concerns of the flesh. You have cast yourself from our ranks.
And I should have done it years before. I'd rather live in uncertainty than servitude.
And that uncertainty would lead you where it leads everyone. To doubt, to emptiness, to the many cruelties inspired by disbelief. You will have to forgive your Grandmaster for remaining skeptical of his initiate's choices. You are far from home, dwarf.
I knew my hunt would send me a long way from Masuk. It was a challenge I was glad to undertake for my village.
A journey, then? It must be of some import to take you so far and to last so long.
What's important is that I'll return soon. And when I do, I'll spend my time where it matters.
So it was worth it, then, to tell a dying beast of things it neither understood nor had memory of. You are here because you are lost. The gods cannot reach everyone, I'm afraid. May you fare better in your next lives. I gather you have had your soul awakened. Why else would you shadow my footsteps like some stray mongrel? You think I have something to offer you, but our business was concluded long ago.
One of us is going to die in this room. You may as well admit your lie to me before that.
I answered your questions once. That your soul is not fit to accept the answers is of little concern to me. I lied to no one. Not to you, not to anyone. The gods are real. They are everything we need them to be, and the world is better for it.
You convinced me once that spreading your false faith would end atrocities. Yet here you are, committing your own.
The spread of our faith ended many such atrocities. I do what I must to ensure it continues to do so. The heart of this country has skipped a beat, nothing more. I have done far worse. I plunged the peaceful kingdom of Thaos into civil war. I slew the monarch of Desantio, whose people never knew hardship under his rule, and replaced him with a cruel despot who brought them to ruin. When plague arrived at the great city of Arborensis, I saw to it that the cure, did not. They piled their dead outside the city in heaps that rose above their walls.
This is supposed to diminish the damage you've done here.
It is to show the proper perspective. There was a time, back when your soul was still a shapeless mist, when the world believed only in false gods. Thousands of them. Gods that told them to take slaves. Gods that told them to make war upon their neighbors and devour the slain. Gods that told them to burn their children alive and cover themselves in the ashes as a sign of their faith. But all that changed when they learned of the true gods. Our gods. All those misshapen, bestial instincts melted beneath the radiance of our god's majesty. You could see it in their eyes. That dull emptiness replaced with the glimmer of a kindled spark.
Teaching them there were no gods would have achieved the same purpose.
And replaced it with one far worse. Have you imagined this existence? The one the apostate would have created. We are not all so virtuous as she. Without our gods, the most wicked, the most tyrannical, they would take that power for themselves. But more than that, it would be a hollow existence. All mysteries forever unanswered. All purposes constructed from meaninglessness. No endings to bring closure. Only a wheel, turning without mercy, grinding our spirits to dust.
If that's how it has to be, then so be it.
If you would welcome a wretched and lifeless existence, then by all means. But I will not see the rest of the world saddled with such a curse. All I have seen, the millennia of experience. I will not be dissuaded from this course. This is the only way.
At least admit it. Admit to me that the gods are not true gods. I need to hear it from you.
You have not thought this through. There is no leaving this place for you. I allowed it once, but you have made it all too clear what a mistake my mercy was. With your soul and thousands of others, I will see this world purged of its suffering. Hear me, Woodica. Your servant calls for aid.
Thaos puts his hands out low to either side, as though welcoming some unseen guest. He shuts his eyes and casts his face skyward. Wodica's headsman and Wodica's judge. Very well, let us get some spells out. And you have one of the most powerful spells there are. Run! You know what? How about you cast that again? This time on Thaos. And it looks like Thaos is almost defeated.
Can't get a good shot with this.
We're down. We're one few. It's not even
Now Thaos. How about you cast that spell again? Because it's extremely useful.
I'm ready.
Mow it.
Can't get it.
And he is down. At your feet rests the body of Thaos. Hollow, the dense wrinkles shaped by the silent shouldering of an eternal burden now smoothed across his color-drained face. His soul remains still for the moment, defenseless, its energy expended in defeat. It lies sprawled across his body like a death shroud.
All those lifetimes spent to preserve a single vital secret. I would expect a man to reconsider his choices after the first 500 years.
That's the servant down, and the mistress still to go. A good start, worthy of being built upon.
After journeying for lifetimes, I can't imagine his failure, knowing it was all for nothing.
In his own way, Thaos must have truly believed he was caring for the people of Aora, protecting them from themselves. A shame his soul won't have a chance to reflect on his errors before it enters the wheel.
He spent his lives, more than any of us will ever know. For what? Binding the world to a lie. Could a man like that ever be redeemed?
Explore Thaos' soul. With a deep breath, you plunge into Thaos' soul, and where in Brackenbury it had been a maze of narrow corridors and dead ends, now it is expansive and borderless, its walls crumbling into heaps like the ruins of Engwyth as you pass through them. You travel for what seems like ages, rushing to a known destination, a memory you glimpsed once before. At last you see it, no more than a pinprick of light at the end of a long tunnel, expanding slowly at first, then quickly as you near. You come out in the room you are standing in now, but it is new and pristine and filled with people, thousands of them, all turned towards the great Audra pillar and the machine that encases it. Thaos stands at the machine, and you are one with him now. You look out at the crowd, at faces of shriveled old men and cherub-cheeked little girls, at mothers bouncing infants to quiet them, and fathers clasping their children's restless hands and watching you with somber acceptance. A woman with tears in her eyes gives you a small nod. You turn back toward the machine, your breaths constricted beneath the weight of unwanted knowledge, preparing yourself to set out alone on a journey without end. You close your eyes and open them again to find the machine still in front of you, beckoning. You take your place in front of it and place your hands upon a large mechanical disc at the base of the great crystal column and speak a single word. Giant rings creak to life, building speed, setting arrays of carved draconic mouths aglow and sending tremors through the platform beneath you. The entire room shakes now with the force of the accelerating machine, all sound drowned out by its deep, deafening thrum. Brilliant tendrils of light arc outward from the pillar in all directions, and you look over your shoulder to see them engulfing the crowd, burning them brightly like hot iron. One by one the tendrils disappear, leaving ashen effigies where people once stood, many of them disintegrating into gray heaps under the stress of the tremors. You look above to the Audra pillar, and a glowing spherical mass has begun to coalesce atop the column where the arcs converge. It grows and pulses, translucent and bulbous like some immense chrysalis, suspended in slow rotation as though it were being spun from the arcs of light. When the last arc disappears, the spectral mass hangs a moment, no longer rotating. So bright you must shield your eyes with an outstretched hand, and it seems to you as though it is looking at you. You bow your head in acknowledgement and look back up to see it melt into the pillar like warm candle wax. The pillar flares with a flash of light, bright as the sun itself, then fades to darkness. The machine slows down to an abrupt halt, and when the last echo of its grinding cogs is past, the chamber is still, and you are alone. From all sides, reality begins to bleed in through the memory, and you find yourself in your own skin once more, looking down on Thaos' lifeless body. You sense a listlessness to Thaos' soul, an overwhelming fatigue that hinders its immediate escape and makes it vulnerable to manipulation. You feel as though your victory has given you some kind of hold over it, and you are able to do with it as you please. Excuse me. Thaos Ix Arcanon, there can be no forgiveness for your deeds, only justice. You shall escape judgment no longer.
To apply the teachings of Durance would more immediately satisfy the cravings in my bones. But this is the stronger lesson, for his soul is already marked by his own hand.
Perhaps this is the best place in the world for Thaos. Somewhere he can't cause further harm. Still, you eventually found the Ovara. What is a few thousand years to someone like him?
You regard Thaos' soul, still and subdued, and your pronouncement seems to empower your spirit. Your will seems to you now a thick chain, and you wind it around Thaos, constraining all movement, eliminating any possible last means of resistance. You call to mind the eternal prison, the vast empty cavern and its cells of Audra, vacated by souls that chose to betray themselves in order to escape an infinite abyss of hopeless self-reflection. You choose a vacant pillar and pour your consciousness into it, creating a perfect, inescapable hollow with space for one. And now you gather up Thaos' soul and bear it to the pillar like some bodiless jailer conjured by justice itself. You can feel its resistance now, the abject terror radiating from it, but your bindings will not be broken. When at last it is sealed away and you begin to recede back to your center, you could almost swear you hear a distant, wordless cry for mercy. In the stillness that follows, a single word echoes through your mind. A word you spoke when you were one with Thaos in an ancient memory. You realize it is the word that activates the machine. And with that, we must deal with the machine. I understand this episode is going long, but
Eh?
we're right here.